Hello, welcome to Joy News Desk with me, Mamisi Nyamiche Thompson. Coming up this hour, calls for increased security at Bawku as health personnel are distressed about the volatile situation in there. We'll hear from the Ghana Medical Association. Meanwhile, the Bawku MC assures of protection for them. Also coming up, former Deputy AG Alfred Tuyaboa criticizes Unibank case withdrawal, says Mr. Dufour's prosecution was a solid case. On the political front, the NPP to lay out measures for its presidential, while it opts to unanimously support a candidate for the Akwatia by-election. Also, we'll tell you how children in Wasa Esikuma are trading books for Galamsey sites, working in toxic pits, exposed to mercury and danger, all in the name of survival. That and more coming up shortly with me, Mamisi Nyamiche Thompson. We'll be back with details. Calls are growing for increased security in Bawku as distressed health workers raise concerns about their safety amid the worsening conflict in the town. With gunfire resonating through parts of the area and military operations escalating, the Nurses and Midwifery Association reports that medical staff are working under fear and uncertainty, risking the continuation of essential care. Perpetual Ampofo told Evans Mensah on PM Express on Newsnight that members of her association should be evacuated. Meanwhile, security analyst Colonel Festus Abaji, retired, has urged the government to increase troops in the area.
I think that the shift or the transition from peacekeeping to peace enforcement is not applicable. But having said that, there are options other than shifting from peacekeeping to peace enforcement in quotes, which could have been explored. When this conflict escalated in late 2023, following the enskinment of the rival Bawku chief, especially in 2024, the government's response was to deploy a task force of 500. It's about 18 months hence. Has this size, this force strength, has it been sufficient? So one of the first things we want to look at is the size of the force. Can we, for instance, increase it by another 500 to 1,000, or 1,000 to 500, 1,000 to 1,500, or 2,000? Because this operation is about dominating the conflict area. And dominance, first and foremost, is through personnel, boots on the ground. Secondly, there have been occasions in the past when the military was using coupons, fuel coupons, to draw fuel, to be paid for by the government, and the government was not paying. The fuel suppliers, who were not charities, withdrew the service. So we need again to enhance the logistics, provide the task force with more vehicle, more transport, including armored ones, give them more fuel. When we come to the geographical spread of the conflict, including the attack on the convoy, for there have been several instances of attacks on convoys, it will suggest that there is some deficit in intelligence. Because once it happened, the state didn't know. The state got to know after the fact.
The Bawku Municipal Chief Executive, Isaac Azunaba, has also been speaking on the situation for healthcare workers.
Curfew is 2 o'clock. Most offices close around 3 p.m., especially as you talk. The health facilities, they run shifts. As they run shifts, by 2 o'clock, the morning staff have closed, and then new set is coming. So how the morning staff will close at 2 o'clock and go is a challenge. How the new staff will also come it's also a challenge.
But are they being provided with security? Because sometime back, the Ghana Medical Association, they declared that their members were under attack and was making it difficult for doctors and nurses to be accept postings to Bawku.
Yeah, so I'm being in talks with the security agency to support sex staff with escorts to and fro from their homes to their workplaces.
So as you speak, it's 2 p.m. Everybody is in their homes observing the curfew. It's past to actually
yeah.
It's past 4 p.m.
Yes, it's past 4 p.m. Everybody is in their homes observing the curfew.
So what is the situation now? Is it calm, tense? What is your understanding of the situation in Bawku today?
Generally, it's calm. We haven't had any issue from yesterday to today. Generally, the municipality is calm.
Well, that was the interview with my colleague Elton Burby on the polls yesterday. Well, joining this conversation is General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Richard Salomi, joining me via Zoom. Doc, we're grateful for your time this morning on our desk.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Can you paint a picture of what healthcare delivery currently looks like in Bawku under these intensified curfew and military operations?
Well, the truth is there's no safety in any war situation. And healthcare delivery in Bawku and its environs. Remember, the war is escalating beyond the confines of Bawku itself as a township. And there are risks to health workers, risks to other travelers on the roads leading into and out of Bawku and adjoining districts. And so as we speak, if you speak from the perspective of doctors alone, there are only 3 doctors currently remaining in that whole enclave, with only 1 doctor serving the Bawku Presby Hospital. Only 1 currently. Meanwhile, in the past, when Bawku was calm and peaceful, we had various specialists, obstetrician, gynecologists, general surgeon, and co. Currently, all have left, and their return cannot be guaranteed because of the situation that we find ourselves. Again, health workers have had to, like you heard from the district's municipal chief executive, have had to work under very dangerous conditions, in the sense that going to and from work is always a risky venture, even though we have not heard that any health worker in particular has been attacked, harmed in any way. There's always a risk because gunfires are crisscrossing. They get back home. You hear the guns ringing as though it is just in your room or behind your room. And if you are not properly tagged and you left your name tag, you are not sure what can happen to you, even though the security agencies are doing their best to facilitate their move to and fro from work. And so it's a very tense situation over there, and the health workers are working under very trying conditions.
Well, I don't know about the security for your members there. Have they had any form of protection for them to do their work?
Well, like I said, there is some security reinforcements at the facilities. And we have heard from our colleagues on the ground that, for example, Bawku Presby has always had some military presence or police presence at the facility, trying to help to screen people and also protect people. We are aware that the municipal authorities also facilitating some protection for our members and others, the other staff, nurses, and the other staff that work in the facilities. However, like we said, you can't have police going to the residences of these people. And for example, if they are traveling out of the town, you can't have them being escorted to every single place that they are going. And so there's that risk that exists at all times.
Right. And how about healthcare delivery currently? You tell me that there's only 1 doctor serving the Bawku community. Are they able to, progress with their work do they have nurses with them? Because recently the nurses are also crying out for evacuation out of the place. How will you describe healthcare in the area?
Like I said, there's only one doctor serving the largest hospital in the Bawku municipality, and that is the Bawku Presby Hospital. At its peak, you had various specialists present in the facility with supporting staff and the relevant other staff that needs to do the work that they do. There was a general surgeon, an obstetrician, gynecologist, etc. Now all of them are no more there. And it is only one officer who is serving all these people. Clearly, he will be overwhelmed. And so there are many cases that could have been done in Bawku, but need to be referred out of the facility because he's clearly overwhelmed. Again, working staff are also leaving, being caught in this very unfortunate situation where it is unsafe for them to work. You have the nurses, you have other key staff who are leaving the area. And so making it difficult for the doctor to even execute his work. The other two doctors, one retired and another person, they are in the private facilities, and one, I think, is in Binduri Health Center. However, Binduri was quite close to the recent action, and so that place was shut down. And so if you think about it, healthcare has been seriously curtailed with the risk to people who sustain injuries and other just regular ailments going to the facilities, either having to stay in longer queues or having to be referred to faraway centers to get the care that they need.
Are you in talks with the Ministry of Health, at least some form of help for the situation for your members as well? Has there been any communication with the ministry on this?
Well, we are constantly engaging, and we have engaged the various authorities all the way down to the district level. And like we said, there is good collaboration on the ground. The regional authorities are engaging our members. The district authorities are engaging the doctors and the other health staff on the ground. However, like we said, there's no safety in a war zone. As much as you do your best, there's no safety. And that is why we will appeal to the warring factions, that they should look at what is happening to their own health facility, to their own people who have to now spend a lot more going to faraway centers in Tamale, in Kumasi, and other places, or Bolga. And the fact that health workers feel unsafe. And if they continue in the path, it may get to a point where most health workers will totally leave the place for them, and they may not get the care that they require when they even get injured and all that. We continue to appeal to them to keep health workers away from whatever situation there is. And at least now that we've not had any health worker being directly injured as a result of this, but we pray that this continues and they find peace so that we can return to normal. Bawku Hospital, for example, Presby was a place where we had house officers going for training, we had nurses going for rotation, we had various surgeries being performed in those places. Now, most of those things are gone and are limited. And this even affects the communities themselves because they have to spend a lot more to transfer these patients and a lot more to go to faraway centers to have the care that they desire. So this is what we are doing. We also, by ourselves and our divisional chairman and the executives, are also trying to provide some support, at least some emotional support to our members, and at least in the situation in which they find themselves.
Well, I'll stay a while longer on the last point that you just made, that, you know, the healthcare delivery is being challenged. We have just one doctor there. I'm wondering whether that doctor is also bent on leaving anytime soon, or he is trying to, you know, stay up with the situation and then go ahead to, you know, for the sake of mercy, attend to injured persons and those who are sick.
Well, this doctor, as I speak, has expressed his desire to stay there as long as he is safe. Of course, you have to live to let live. And so at any time that he feels threatened, we will not hesitate to ensure that he's evacuated from the place. Because if he is not alive or he is harmed, he cannot even provide the services that he's sworn to provide. And so for us, he has expressed his desire to continue serving until he feels unsafe. And so we'll continue to support him. But then once the place is unsafe, he ever feels unsafe at any moment, we will definitely ensure that he's evacuated from the place.
All right.
Let me reiterate that beyond the Bawku township itself, this is escalating to the adjoining districts. It's not about just Bawku itself, as you've heard from the discussion. This is fanning out into other areas.
Yes, Nalerugu and the rest.
And so we think that it's important that government intervenes quickly, the leaders and the traditional authorities intervene quickly and bring peace and calm to Bawku and then the area, so that professionals can render the service to them, and they can also go about their work in peace.
Well, Dr. Salomi, please stay with me. I'll come back to you. We have on the line Reverend Tim Frimpong. He's the ranking on the Interior Committee, also joining this conversation with us. Reverend, you've heard so far what Reverend Dr. Richard Salomi has been saying in the situation in Bawku. What do you have to say to this?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mamisi. I wish to associate myself with most of the points that Dr. Salome has expressed and the sentiments of our health workers, and to, at the outset, extend my condolences to the families of all those who have unfortunately perished through this conflict since it began. I wouldn't cite any particular incident, but since the conflict began, casualties that have suffered from both sides, sympathies to all, including the recent escalations. And to also urge calm, we want to join in urging calm, where we are appealing that all factions should exercise restraint. We need to de-escalate. There has to be de-escalation in the immediate tensions that we have seen in recent times, and to ensure that we all support all the peace-building efforts to ensure that Bawku returns to normal. I am very optimistic that, considering the nature of sensitivity and the complexity of other conflicts that have occurred in this country and other parts of the world, which eventually saw a resolution, I'm very optimistic that Bawku will also see a lasting peace. But at the moment, we are urging calm on all factions for them to exercise restraint, and let's give peace a chance. You look at the situation in the Bawku enclave now. Health workers are very concerned about their lives, and all of us are concerned about the lives of the very people who are there to ensure that we do not see degenerating humanitarian crisis. We want to ensure that everyone that has accepted posting to work in Bawku, in education, in health, in the security services, in the judiciary, in every other critical sector, maintains or receives the kind of peace and the kind of safety that it deserves to be able to continue rendering their services. I have also followed the concerns that have been raised by Dr. Salome and his colleagues. And I think that an assessment will have to be done. There are the health workers who may be in in extremely risky zones. Those ones will have to be evacuated. We don't have to get to a point where the unexpected happens before a reactionary measure is put in place. There may also be a determination around other health workers in certain other zones or certain other locations within a conflict zone who may be able to receive adequate protection by the security agencies and be considered safe to continue to stay and render their services. So,
well, Rev, so let me say this. I don't know the information available to the committee, but this has gone on for some time. We know that the Asantehene is engaging in some mediation efforts. Where are we on this? Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel? Because, 3 students have been killed in this conflict. There's a Kusasi chief that has also been gunned down. So far, there's been no arrest in Bawku for some of these, violence that have taken place. What is the committee engaging on, or how is the committee engaging on this?
The committee has taken this development very seriously. As a matter of fact, last week we held a joint meeting between the Defense and Interior Committee and Security and Intelligence Committee. We invited the Minister for Interior, Minister for Defense, the IGP, and all relevant security actors. Topical among the discussion was the development situation in Bawku, and we got updates from the measures being put in place. We also made suggestions as to what has to be done. And after that, we've seen the escalation this weekend. So we are going to engage again and to be able to tighten various measures that have to be put in place to ensure safety. On the side of the resolution of the underpinning chieftaincy dispute, we all call for the support of the 2-4-32 as Antony-led mediation. That is a very tenable and a very effective way of resolving the underpinning chieftaincy dispute. And for that, I urge all stakeholders to support that peace-building effort. So far, the information and understanding we have indicates that Otunfo is creditably undertaking that mediation. And so we are very hopeful that we will have lasting peace coming from that mediation. And that is where our optimism comes in. Beyond the resolution of the underpinning chieftaincy disputes, the other dimensions of it are also being looked at very, very critically. A lot of the measures and discussions around it, considering the sensitivities around the situation in Bawku, we prefer to do it in-house. And so a number of discussions have gone on. And our opinion on the approach and how things are being handled. But we also urge that every form of politicization will have to be removed in our approach to bringing peace. There's no benefit politically for any group to politicize this matter. No one will benefit from politicizing.
How soon are you meeting the stakeholders to engage them on the latest situation?
Or as soon as practically possible. As soon as practically possible, we are going to engage them again to ensure that we address the immediate escalation and support the various security agencies to be able to assist in de-escalating the situation and to be able to move forward in other peace-building efforts that is underway. But the politics is so important. If all of us, this is the point that we need to unite as one. This is the time we have to put political interest aside and to refrain from statements and pronouncements that may be volatile or are pushing some interest that may further exacerbate the situation we are dealing with. Of course, there are other criminal enterprises, dimensions to the conflict, and all these will have to be addressed at the same time, whilst the chieftaincy dispute is being handled by Otunfo, the security agencies also handling. So we all call for calm, we call for restraint, and we are urging that let us all, faith-based organizations, CSOs, the media, let us all be circumspect in our approach to the situation, and let us all support the peace-building efforts going in Bawku.
Grateful for your time, Reverend Tim Frimpong. He's ranking member on the Interior Committee in Parliament, giving us updates on the Bawku situation. Well, moving away from Bawku, former Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuah has criticized Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine for dropping the criminal case against ex-Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufo and 7 others over the collapse of Unibank. While Dr. Ayine says the decision followed a March 2025 settlement offer covering both civil and criminal aspects, Mr. Tuah argues that the state had a strong case and should have pursued full prosecution to cover all funds, not just 60% of the proposed settlement.
When we took it to court, we had 3 or 4 objectives. 1, to prosecute, and if successful, get them convicted, and then also get the money recovered after their conviction. And in addition thereto, for them to also be punished in accordance with law. And so in terms of recovery, we know rule that one out, but we're so clear in our mind that we had a very strong case, and that if nothing at all, at minimum, even if we're going to settle the matter, we should get 100% recovery.
But the AG makes the point that during the period that you were on this case, you made no inroads in terms of getting conviction, in terms of the recovery. For all those years that the case stood in court, no progress, no significant progress was made in terms of getting to the finality of, and what he's done rather has saved the nation money that in terms of legal journey would have amounted to nothing.
Respectfully, I disagree with the learned AG. This case started in 2020. We called the receiver. In fact, he was our star witness. The receiver appointed by the Bank of Ghana. He went through the books, came out with the figures that we used in filing the charge sheet. He came to testify. He was cross-examined. We also called our second witness, PW2. And so if there's this saying that we didn't do anything apart from filing it, that cannot be true. Then if you also look at the charges that we leveled against the accused person, you realize apart from apart from those falsification of account as one of the offenses that we charged the accused person. The point has been made that no recovery was made, but the AG knows that before he took over, 300 million Ghana, the amount that we charged the Bank of Ghana, current Bank of Ghana with, has recovered. But this notwithstanding, we're pressing the charges because we had the view that if someone did something untoward regarding finances and we're able to recover even 100%, the next step must be taken to also, in a way, punish the person, either getting the person imprisoned or let the person pay interest or in addition to the original amount. So that's the very reason why this case was in court. We did a lot. It went to the Court of Appeal. It came back. They raised various objections. And so when I heard the AG say that he has examined the file, realized that the charges are weak and the possibility of joint conviction was very minimal, I beg to differ.
Well, according to Mr. Tiayaba, the Attorney General's decision to set is setting a troubling precedent that could weaken, other cases in future.
It's where we took serious steps to file the charges, line up our witnesses to prosecute it. With this new trend, what is being said, or what we are trying to say is that the other case in court, for instance, now we have the UT case in court. The same market protecting have the same set of facts. We have other, I'm not enough, but I know we have about 6 or different cases. The agents are telling us that all those cases will not be successful in court. And this is now going to arm the accused person with no case to say, we are not going to pay you even once, because after you said that the cases that we filed in court are not strong cases, and you will need to recover even once to be. So I think the approach is something that I have a problem with. The AG simply could have entered NP, which I will not doubt he has that power to do. And then perhaps spares this explanation. But with these explanations, we are also fortified to also come out. And so it's not helping the cause, because the AG has cited an example that because 10 million was offered by big capital Yinaku, and he rejected, and now the guy has been acquitted and decided that the state has lost everything. I beg to differ on that score also. That's why we have the Supreme Court. If the High Court has made a ruling that the person has a case to answer, and the Court of Appeal has said the person has no case to answer, any prosecutor may want to go up because the trial court, which heard the evidence, has come to a conclusion that you think that you ought to move forward. But if they are saying that they are going to appeal to the Supreme Court, what happens? It means that, as he said, we are going to lose everything. But how much was involved in the Beige Capital case? Well, 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. And which prosecutor will accept 10 million in settlement of an amount of 1.2 billion Ghana cedis? So, everything.
Right.
This 60-40 that the AG said they've come up to is a dangerous precedent, even though I concede that if you recover some amount of money, it's good for the state. However, we need to be very careful, very cautiously. I know as a fact that there are over 400 cases involving the banking sector cleanup. With this precedent, and what the AG has said today, I doubt if you can even get one CD in the other case. Because the AG has said that for the breach of trust does not hold in such cases, he seems to be saying the other offenses will also not hold. Check the other cases and realize that these are the offenses or the charges that are leveled against the other accused persons. That's what I'm saying. It's a dangerous place and we need to watch out.
Meanwhile, lawyer for embattled Ashanti Regional NPP Chairman Wontumi says they're exploring all legal options, including plea bargaining, only after specific charges are made. Yoko has completed investigations into Wontumi and former Buffer Stock CEO Abdul Wahab Hanan, with findings expected soon. In the Akonta mining case, charges have been prepared and returned to the police for arraignment. Lawyer Andy Apiakobi says they'll decide on a course of action once the charges are fully known.
Well, let's wait for the charges to come. We'll make appearance to court and we'll see the options.
And just to be clear on his offer to plea bargain, you're saying that once you see the charges, is something that you would or you may consider?
Well, it is part of the considerations that we'll be able to resort to. But until we are served with the charges, we have not been served with any charges whatsoever. So when we are so set, then we will consider all possibilities.
Lawyer Andy Apiakobi insists his client deserves a fair trial and is ready to face the AG in court.
He has duties also to ensure a fair trial and also give the accused adequate time, opportunity, and resources to be able to defend themselves. So I'm sure that will be accorded the necessary courtesies as we make appearance in court. So we are ready.
This is Joy News Desk with me, Mami Sinyamiche Thompson. We'll take a break. We'll return with more. Welcome back. Now, the new Patriotic Party has opted not to hold a primary for the upcoming Akwatia by-election following the death of MP Ernest Iyalkumi. Instead, the party and interested aspirants have unanimously agreed to back businessman Solomon Asumedu as the candidate. Eastern Regional Chairman Jeff Konedu announced the decision at a press conference in Parliament, joined by former Akwatia MP Amase.
National Council of the Party set up a committee and we were tasked to find out who could be our candidate or whether we will do primaries or not. So the team went to Akwatia in the constituency, had engagement, a lot of engagement with the grassroots, electoral area coordinators, polling station officers, chiefs, opinion leaders, and majority of the people said that for primaries, we should take it out. We shouldn't conduct primaries in Akwatia. And that's exactly what we followed. And then now comes to how we will get a suitable candidate. We commissioned a search. We commissioned a research. People went into the constituency and gave them all the names that had expressed interest. In this case, Honorable Amase, Lawyer Uredu, Kwame Asumedu, Daniel Nyame, Osei Apia. And we gave them these names to go into the constituency, in the villages, in the towns, to throw out these names, to come back and report to us who the suitable person could be. And to cut a long story short, when it came, the party saw that they've settled on Kwame Asumedu Solomon. And so we reported back to council, and council also gave us the go-ahead to engage further and to follow the due process to do a popular acclamation for Kwame Asumadu in the constituency. Today marks the official announcement of Kwame Asumadu as our candidate for the Akwatia constituency by elections.
And you had the NPP Eastern Regional Chairman Jeff Kunedu. Now this morning, there's still more happening in the NPP. The party is addressing measures for its presidential primaries. Over there for us is Kenneth JC, and he joins me via Zoom. Ken, what are we to expect from this meeting?
Well, so today we're expecting a formal declaration by the party that they are formally open nomination for their presidential primaries. That press conference that was supposed to happen yesterday has been postponed to today. So that is the expectation. And with the news just coming in that Solomon Asumadu has been unanimously acclaimed as the party's presumptive candidate for the Akwatia by-election, we expect the party to speak on that as well, because rumors were rife that the former MP for the area, I must say, was going to contest, but now we understand that at least she is not going to contest, and all the people in that particular region are throwing their support behind the party. Now, these are the timetable or the timelines for the party's presidential primaries that's going to happen in January 2026. So today, as I mentioned earlier, they will officially open nomination. That is the 29th of July 2025. They'll close nomination a month later on the 28th of August 2025. Voting is going to take place between the 15th to the 22nd of September 2025. Now, recommendations of voting reports to the National Council is going to take place on September 29th. Submission of petition, if any, will take place between September 30th to October 3rd. And then the next is going to meet on the 7th of October. The publication of nominees will happen on the 8th of October. The balloting will happen on the 10th of October. The notice of poll will be issued on the 17th of October. The elections will be held on the 31st of January 2026. And in the event that no candidate gets 50%, a runoff will be held on Valentine's Day next year. That is the 14th of February 2026. So these, among other things, the expectation that the party is going to officially communicate to its members through this press conference that we await for the party to address us.
Well, Kenneth, are you learning of any updates on the Akwatia preparations, even though they have chosen a candidate for the election? Any updates on the preparation for the election?
I've spoken to a source within the party who tells me that this has been agreed upon at the constituency level, and then at the regional level, that's the Eastern Regional branch of the party. It is yet to be agreed upon at the national level. So that is being considered. So the party is yet to make a final decision at the national level, whether to endorse what the regional executives have said. So we await a formal confirmation or otherwise if the party at the national level is indeed going with Solomon Asumadu, as has been declared by the regional executives of the party in the Eastern region. So as of now, the information is a bit dicey and scanty, but the party will confirm today or otherwise if indeed they are all throwing their support behind Solomon Asumadu at the national level, as there has been a unanimous declaration of support for Solomon Asumadu to represent the party at the Akwatia constituency in the upcoming by-election. Mamiesi.
All right. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for that update. We'll definitely get back to you for the latest on that meeting. Well, in the camp of the NDC, we know that they're also making preparations. 3 candidates have already expressed interest and have picked up forms, but we'll get the latest on that later in subsequent bulletins. Well, moving on, they should be in classrooms chasing dreams, but many children in the mining community of Wasa, Esukumais, are chasing specks of gold in toxic pits. The lure of quick cash has dragged them into illegal mining, where mercury, lead, and arsenic poison the air they breathe and the water they drink. Naya Aljima has more in our latest feature, Children in the Pit, produced in partnership with All Africa.
areas with substantial gold deposits in the country. Our journey into the district revealed illegal small-scale mining operations have taken over the main Ayamfore-Wase Kropon road in the western region. At Wasa Esikuma near Ikropon, I met a group of teenagers aged between 12 and 14 years. They are 10 in number, but to ease their galamsey activities, they have divided themselves into 3 and sometimes 4. The 2 leaders are in year 2 of junior high school at the local basic school, and the others are in their first year at JHS, but most of them are still in primary school. Today, in the Galamsey Palance, is breaking day, a day small-scale miners in this community rest from their field activities. I met them in their washing bays close to their homes in Esikuma, where they washed the previous day's gold containing sand, which they call black. A conical-shaped wooden bowl is the main tool here, and with their hands, they wash the sand in water. After 2 minutes of continuous washing of the sand, the gold particles settle from the sand. Mercury, the heavy metal, is dropped in the bowl, resulting in the formation of gold amalgam, which they call balls. One of the 2 group leaders, who I choose to call David, explains their mode of operations.
Na omo ya dwuma na ndi omo pon ya kwesi amnanim ni atete ani ya horo ni enya bia ni e ba fia na ya diwe no med na to black ni na ya twi ewia na ya cheso ya yipe na ya chechire ya koton amabaya no.
Junior, not his real name, is the leader of the other group, who has also succeeded in getting the gold amalgam.
Wait, minya 0.4.3. Bani abatama baya ni ajiska. 1.3 minya 3.6 ni achene 1.5 1.5.
Nti moko Monday to Saturday. Moko de bia.
Ejise ebnadangwana yango.
Nti moko bia de bia mutimi nya sa 3 million. Ana etiminya 4 million. Eni de bia.
Ebuanzo enye dem bia.
The mercury, which is used by the children, is stored in a small container which is originally used to package eye drop. They pass on the mercury to each other as and when needed. Both David and Junior pointed to their gold buyer, whose name they gave as Brakwame, as a supplier of mercury. Though they have knowledge about the danger of this heavy metal, they are more concerned about the monetary gains.
And see, when you say mercury, you see that she betting me yare.
What I?
Yare be no say betting me.
John dem no.
Na what you saying? What you mercury who am saying?
Dio me tian say e teacher ni ka kire say. Eye adebi eye ade bone eni kwan say ye no rough and I see ye di gu enzem ne kodidi a hwane anva ni di o say awure yanzanza ne didi.
Na o cha no yes because they say we did agro.
Sange ye kwa dwuma ana makofa da hye mbutum se nge kwa na ye twa black ni bia na ya de atuma achi black nda ba fi
Teacher na chira ye say ya ene yanva sa mercury na angu kwa nzanya sa bia ye re fini e ko to edan man ye dia e be yare
and still that's the year you mean
According to Professor Paul Poku Sampene Osei's research, it takes between 10 to 15 micrograms per deciliter of heavy metal ingestion into the human body to negatively affect organs. The exposure of these children to mercury could lead to its ingestion or inhalation.
I've told you that adults absorb those things 15 to 20% of what ingested this mercury or heavy metals. I won't say mercury alone, heavy metals. But the child, when he ingests, is absorbed. This level of absorption is 50%. So if you took maybe fufu, which has these heavy metals contaminating the components that made the water that was made used to make the fufu, the child will absorb 50%, assuming that is 100 that was there. He absorbing 50 out of the 100. into the system.
Parents of these children are aware of the dangerous ventures of their wards.
I'm Papa, I talk to them down there. I'm going to
Who are planning to talk to them myself? I don't want to see you.
I'll be on a site one from you. Now, our Augustine Chile now I'll talk to them.
Until Oko Passai to anything from the area.
I want to make Ponsca by Kwan. The man there do another Sunday. Hayana.
According to the children, they are regular at school since the owners of these mining sites only allow them in after school. Dr. Eugene Ansah is a researcher at the Sheath Laboratory at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Dr. Eugene Ansah fears for the future.
Ghanaians, we are sitting on time bombs, which, if care is not taken, in some years to come, our generation will go into extinction because we are dying gradually from acute exposure to these things. Today, I might not feel the effects, but with time, it will show off. So bioaccumulation is showing off gradually in most of us.
The Mercury Act 1989 guides against the trade or importation of mercury without the requisite licensing.
This feature story is sponsored by All Africa.
Very interesting story there, Winston, and looking at how the children are still inhaling these toxins, and then, you know, for the money. My fear is they aren't even going to go back to school, you know.
Absolutely. Starting at this age, you're looking at even when they get to senior high school, the health implications that will start to build up before they grow. It's quite shocking.
But the thing is, are there even solutions to this? How do we resolve this? Is a question for the gods or for the stakeholders in the game.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
We'll be back from there here on Journalist.
All right. What's up for business?
We have update from the Securities and Exchange Commission and also on SNET.
All right.
And now to our first business story. The Securities and Exchange Commission has cautioned the public about the recent rise in fraudulent investment schemes in the country. According to SEC, the schemes are not licensed but are designed solely to defraud the investing public. The following report has more.
Caution the public to be careful of the modus operandi used by the fraudsters. These include the use of images of public officials and influential persons in investment adverts, use of artificial intelligence to mimic voices, videos, and faces, as well as operate faceless entities on social media. The SEC also warned that the fraudulent schemes often promise unreasonably high returns within the shortest possible time. It assured that it is actively working with relevant law enforcement agencies to investigate and dismantle these fraudulent operations and will continue to take all necessary steps to protect investors.
Now, away from that, the General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, Kwesi Afriyie-Baine, has reiterated that SNET would not sell any of its assets, especially the Labadi Beach Hotel, under any circumstances. Speaking at the official launch of the Trust's 60th anniversary celebrations in Accra, Mr. Baine addressed the public concerns over SNET's hotel investment. Here's more.
The 60th anniversary celebration of SNET is expected to feature a series of activities highlighting the Trust's impact on social protection, pension administration, and investment in Ghana. Director General at SNET, Kwesi Afriyie-Baine, said SNET is focused on optimizing its investment portfolio to ensure long-term sustainability and better returns for contributors.
I stand here today, and we are all gathered here. Labadi Beach Hotel, a beautiful edifice, is one of our investments wholly owned 100% by SNET. and we assure you that it will not be sold under our watch. Facing our imperfections, whilst we take pride in these compliments, we are also mindful that impact is not measured by investment alone. It's measured by how well we serve, how honestly we reflect, and how courageously we encourage. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, allow me to speak honestly about our journey. SNIT has not always gotten everything right. There were times when we moved too slowly, systems that should have served better, decisions we made didn't always meet public expectations, and yes, at times we fell short.
Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, special guest of honor, noted in her remarks that since its inception, the Social Security Scheme has evolved into a formidable national institution, protecting the livelihoods of millions of Ghanaians.
Distinguished guests, as we celebrate, we must also pause for reflection. We must aim to make the scheme stronger, more equitable, and more sustainable, and to broaden coverage to reach informal sector workers and the self-employed. The next phase of social security in Ghana must be driven by inclusion, sustainability, and adaptability.
Chief of Staff Julius Debra, chairman for the occasion, assured SNIT of government's commitment to supporting management in delivering on its mandate.
This Diamond Jubilee is an opportunity to reflect on a legacy of service and to reaffirm our shared commitment to strengthening and sustaining social security scheme for the future generations. I look forward to working closely with everyone to ensure that this important milestone leaves a lasting legacy and inspires confidence in the scheme.
SNIT plans to embark on nationwide sensitization to educate Ghanaians, especially the youth, informal sector workers, and self-employed about the value of pension contributors and social security.
That's all for business. Over to you, Mamisi.
And that's all for News Desk here on the Journeys channel. We'll meet again tomorrow.
Get better.